Hey Dance Bugs, Karen here from Come Dancing Studios, and welcome to FAQ, Frequently Asked Questions. This is your place for getting to know dance and us a whole lot better. Stick around and I'm going to talk about the top 2 frequently asked questions by most new students. You won't want to miss this, so make sure to subscribe and click the notification button to get more FAQs. Stay tuned. Okay guys, here we go. The top 2 questions most frequently asked by new students go hand in hand. So it's hard to put one above the other because they tend to get asked at the same time, and that's why they're my top 2. So, how long is it going to take for me to be a good dancer, and how much is it going to cost me? Duh! So, let's tackle the first one. How long is it going to take me to be a good dancer? Well, that all depends. What is your definition of a good dancer? Do you want to be the next contestant on Dancing with the Stars? Do you want to be the next professional on Dancing with the Stars? So you want to take all of these things into consideration. Generally speaking, it can, somebody can pick it up in 5 minutes, which never really happens. Or someone can take several years to become a proficient dancer in the way that they want to be. A few questions to ask yourself. Are you learning for a specific goal, or do you just want to do this as a fun new skill to acquire? The other thing to consider is how often are you willing to set aside the time to put into this new craft? Like anything, practice, practice, practice. So a football player will practice X number of hours a week. A gymnast will practice X number of hours a week. Dance is no different. It just depends on your level of priority that you're putting on it. On average, most people will allot once a week to come to a dance class. And generally, dance classes can run anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on where you're going. The average amount is usually around 45 minutes for a session, and that would go for both a private lesson or a group class. What are the differences between those two? Check out our other video, which break down the differences between a private lesson and a group class. Keep in mind how often you're willing to work on this new skill and how much money you're willing to invest, which brings me up to the second question that I'm going to get to in another second. So, time allotment makes a difference, and intensity. So again, this will go back to the difference between group lessons and private lessons. In a group class, you're in a situation with not just you, but maybe a group of 10, 20, 30 other people, depending on where you're taking classes. So that will take into consideration how much individual time you will get allotted to you. Whereas a private lesson, you'd get a little bit more one-on-one focus. So a group class will take you a little bit longer on your journey to dance. And so if you're doing approximately once a week in a group class, you're looking at a decent 6 months to a year. Again, this will depend on the individual and your individual ability to become proficient in your basic understanding of dancing and dancing with a partner, because ballroom and Latin dancing or any other partnership type of dance require a different mentality than, say, something like doing jazz or hip hop or even ballet. So that's something to take into consideration. But on average, you're looking at about 6 months to a year of group classes. Private lessons, obviously you're going to get a little bit more one-on-one individual attention, so you most likely will progress a little bit faster than in group classes. Again, you want to also take into consideration, are you taking classes on your own, or would you be taking lessons with a partner? So if you're taking lessons on your own, in a group setting, you're going to be dancing with different types of partners. And if you were taking Private lessons, you're going to be dancing with an instructor. So your instructor would be your partner. Obviously, you're going to progress a little bit faster if you're dancing one-on-one with an instructor as your partner. So that's another thing to take into consideration. If you are coming with a partner, your boyfriend, your husband, a friend, a sister, an aunt, whatever, you will have a little bit more consistency in working on acquiring this new skill together. So that does help a little bit in progressing you forward a little faster because there is more consistency in partnership. One isn't better than the other, they're just two different paths. So hopefully I've tackled the how long is it going to take me to become a good dancer question. Did I miss anything? Make sure to give me a comment below or pop us an email at info@comedancing.ca to ask your question. And who knows, it might be in our next FAQ. Our other most frequently asked question is, how much is it gonna cost? So money is a big issue because we all have a certain amount of it to spend on a leisure activity like dance. So this ties into the question of how long will it take me to learn to dance? Because the frequency and the length of time you put into this skill does affect how much it costs. Now, your cost can vary anywhere from $0 to thousands of dollars. It all depends on where you go and the type of instruction you get and the value you put on learning to dance. So lots of people have told me, hey, I can go to my local cafe. They do, let's say, a Latin theme once a week, and it's a $10 drop-in. Or I can go to into the city, and the nightclub has, swing nights on Tuesday nights, and it's free with admission, so it's not really free. So I can just do that and learn to dance. You most certainly can do that. You can do it in any approach you like. But here is the difference in the value you get for what you pay. So that old saying of you get what you pay for, when you go to a drop-in that's $5, $10, free, you're not getting a consistency of progression. So a lot of people get really excited about trying out these free classes, these drop-ins, which are actually a fantastic way to check places out. It's really important to do your homework and find the place that works for you. So these initial free or drop-ins are fantastic. However, you are going to get to a point where you're going to want to progress. And these free classes or drop-ins are designed to keep cycling through an initial stage of learning. So you're only going to get so far in those lessons. And a lot of times they're shorter lessons and they don't take enough time to break down all the little nuances of either leading or following or understanding the pattern or doing it to the music. So there's so many different layers to break down, and these quick one-shot classes kind of fall short when it comes to progressing on. So really good to do your research, but to progress further, you're probably going to want to find something that you'll feel a little bit more comfortable committing to. Then we talk about the community center classes, mostly the group lessons. So those can vary anywhere in range from, $50 to $200 for a course that's usually anywhere from 6 weeks to 10 weeks. I think I've seen some for 12 weeks. So again, it will vary depending on where you go. So that might be a little bit more economical. It's a great way to do a little bit of progression as well, because usually they have it in levels of beginners, intermediate, and advanced. So that's a great way to kind of check out a system, a program, a great way to get a little bit of consistency and progression. Community centers environments may also have a little bit of a limitation in that they only go so far, and then they start to cycle the material again. And this is where maybe a dedicated dance studio may be a better option for you, whether it's some of the larger franchise chains or lots of the many independent dance studios in the city. Now, cost will be a very big factor here, because once you start going into the franchise chains, they are going to cost a lot more, simply because they pay royalties and franchise fees to their head office. They're usually in high prominent locations where the rent is much more expensive. So you're going to take all those things into effect when it comes to price. Some of the independent studios don't have to pay royalties or franchise fees, and sometimes they're in locations like industrial areas where the rent is a little bit cheaper, and they can give you a little bit more give on that price point. And sometimes the level of instruction is just as fabulous, if not better, than some of the franchised locations. Again, not saying it's true for all, but this is again where it comes into effect that you should do your research. Try out lots of studios. Try out a franchise school. Try out an independent. Try out a community center. Try the drop-in. The best way to figure out what you want to do and where you want to go is to arm yourself with information. So this is another reason why it's really important to go out there and try out lots of different places. So I would say independent studios are going to be in the mid-range. So if you're looking at group classes, again, independent studios, you might find them anywhere between, dare I say, $100 to $250 for a group class program. Private lessons obviously are going to vary. The franchise studios, I don't think that they actually offer group class programs only. But again, you need to look into that and find out for sure. I don't want to speak for all franchise studios. The independents generally may offer a little bit more flexibility, where they may offer some group class packages and they may offer some private lesson packages. So you have the option of choosing either or both. So when you're looking at private lessons, you're going to see a range anywhere, I would say, from as low as $50 an hour or a 45-minute session, and that's kind of really on the low end. Anywhere up to, I've seen as high as $175 or $180 a session. And usually you're talking about high caliber coaches. I myself have been teaching for 22 years, and I definitely have paid that kind of money when I was in my earlier years doing some training and also some competing. So again, it all depends on what your goal is, the time frame you're willing to put in, and your budget, and how good you want to be. So hopefully all of this information has given you a nice array of options and information to help you make a better decision. So we've covered how long is it going to take me to dance and how much is it going to cost me. Hopefully I've covered all the little nuances you were curious about. If I've missed anything, make sure to leave me a comment or pop us an email on our website. You can find us at www.comedancing.ca, and you can email us at info@comedancing.ca. We look forward to seeing you on our dance floor. See you next time.